The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
People, we got Sweden's prime minister using ChatGPT to organize its nation. And now we're trying to organize the Vancouver Canucks doing the same thing. It's the IKEA episode, okay, of Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People. We back doing this, and that's giving you another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen here at the Don't Doze Art Lab. One love to you and you, and you and you, and you and you for tuning in to, again, an episode of Locked On Canucks, the show that gives you, the West Coast bias. And look at us. August 7th, 2025. Stay in the moment. The present is the present, and we're always doing this. And that's assuming. And warming up, getting ready for the inevitable. And that's your Vancouver Canucks season. And because of that, we have to use ChatGPT to make some trade predictions for that same team you cheer for, that you're addicted to. And look at me, committing a sin. A big-time sin. What am I doing? Mixing technology with passion. Technology with fashion. Technology with passion. Technology with love. Technology with my heart. Technology with my Vancouver Canucks. Using AI is super, super, super dangerous, right? Because, we're looking at it as an abundance of intelligence rather than just an abundance of, artificial speech. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a weird time. We're spending more time with the intelligence than the artificial. That being said, the artificial is going to be fun today. Just because, trade proposals, they're always fun. We're addicts at the end of the day. And because we get to poo-poo on, once again, ChatGPT, because this robot's an idiot. And I should probably be afraid to saying that, because one day they'll take over. But, ChatGPT ain't ready to write our essays, okay? Anyway, should we do this? Should we ask ChatGPT to make some trades? And, instead of doing the obvious thing first and, asking ChatGPT to find our second line center, can we just think of creative things? I don't know. Like dark things, maybe? I don't know. Extreme things? Why not? Let's push the limits. And I did it, okay? I said, ChatGPT, let's say, hypothetically, Tom Willander, Elias Pettersson, those other defensemen. Hey, Valentino Martini, the second, the third, Mancini, that guy, he just elevates. Let's say somehow, some way, Filip Hronek is available, because, you gotta move something to get something. And now we have a surplus of really good defensemen. Does that make Filip Hronek available? And let's say we do trade him. Who do we trade him for? And ChatGPT brought up this, and let me know in the comments if you agree with this, but they said we should trade Filip Hronek for Rupe Hintz of the Dallas Stars. How does that sound to you? Does Dallas? I wouldn't say get desperate, because they got a deep team, but they need defense, and Filip Hronek is really good. Like, does Filip Hronek have such a good start to this season, being a right-handed defenseman, playing with Quinn Hughes, compiling what? That would be like 4 straight really good seasons, right? The season he had with Detroit, the 2 with Vancouver, and then this one. Let's say he puts himself even more on the map. Is his trade value going up like that to the point where, the Canucks could dangle him for a star top 6 piece? And I know the irony in that is, they did a Horvat, and they traded Horvat for Hronek. But, could they do it? And is Rupe Hintz the guy? Is Jason Robertson the guy? Again, nothing more coveted than a right-handed defenseman, right? At times, in an NHL season. The cachet is full when it comes to us predicting the value of one of those guys, to the point where if I have a kid and he's left-handed, he draws with his left hand, that's gonna be a problem. Hey, it is what it is. Those are my children. Okay, where am I going with this? Does Filip Hronek raise his trade value this season? And I don't know. I know we're doing something dark here and messing with AI and talking about your team, but like, what's the percentage? Is it 0 or is it like 25 or 50% when asking yourself, will Filip Hronek ever legitimately be on the trade block? And obviously he's got, protection, but moves can happen. You never know. People want to go where they want to, where they're wanted. You just never know. ChatGPT also said trade Filip Hronek for Matthew Tkachuk of the Calgary Flames. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. ChatGPT stupid as you know what to. Let's ask it another extreme question, though, okay? Again, we got to do it. Something odd before we go to the obvious. And I was curious about this. We talked about him a little bit yesterday, and I know it's going to piss people off, but JT Miller, that type of guy. Could they replace some of him with a guy like Boone Jenner? And what does that look like? ChatGPT saying a lot of things, okay? They're doing everything from, trade Braden Coots and a second-round pick for Boone Jenner. And you're like, come on, slow down. Although, Boone Jenner has a really good season this year. Like, again, his value's going to go up, especially, if he's available and Columbus is doing bad, boom, bad. Like, there's going to be some, look what a better player, but look what the Islanders got for Brock Nelson, right? But I would slow down there. ChatGPT did say, instead of, putting Braden Coots in there in that second-round pick, why not just compile a couple second-round picks? Like, let's say Boone Jenner's all right. A bit slow. Like, would you do that? A couple second-round picks for Boone Jenner? Would you do a first and a second? That's a lot to ask for. Isn't Boone Jenner like 32 years old, a new 46? Isn't Boone Jenner coming off, 19 points in 26 games? The year before that, he had 35 and 58. Well over a point per game, his last two. Even the one before that, 45 and 68. Before that, 44 and 59. This guy cannot stay healthy. He can't do it. But what would you get to, get Boone Jenner? If they could get like a guy like that for 2 second-round picks, you throw in like Archie Baines or something. Like, what if you traded Kirill Karyatsev in a second-round pick? Would you do that for Boone Jenner? In an alternate universe, let's say this team kept Dakota Joshua. Dakota Joshua rebounds well. Is it like Dakota Joshua in a second-round pick? How far in the pockets are you going for a guy like that? I'm not looking at the first-round pick. I'm not looking at Braden Coots, but 2 seconds, maybe, just maybe, that could get it done. Anyways, before we get to the other side, let's throw one more in there, okay? Let's go for, I don't know, more of an obvious scenario, okay? What would it take to get a guy like Marco Rossi? What is ChatGPT saying? It's giving the obvious responses, okay? Still sounding somewhat like a dumbass, but hey, it's just a robot. It's saying that, you could give up Braden Coots and the first-round pick from 2025. And it's like, how do you even have that in the same sentence? And the Prime Minister of Sweden is actually using this technology to build a country. Like, unreal. That makes no sense. But maybe it made a mistake and it was trying to say this. For Marco Rossi, you give up a protected first-round pick. Make sure it's not the number 1 overall pick. And Braden Coots for Marco Rossi. Are you doing that? No. You can't. To me, that's still too much. What else do we got here? Okay. Again, ChatGPT is still thinking Dakota Joshua is on this team, but who else in the bottom six with the first round pick and a second round pick could you add in there? Like, could you get Marco Rossi? Let's do the math here. Dun 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 dun. Let's say this. Let's say this. Kiefer Sherwood, a first round pick, and a second round pick for Marco Rossi. Are you doing that? Now that ChatGPT doing that. Again, Kiefer Sherwood, a first and a second, a protected first. Remember, it's not going to turn to Gavin McKenna. Maybe they should even put a top 5, top 10 protection on that. Are you doing that? Let's get to the comments. Supersonic saying, nah, you got to keep Kiefer Sherwood at all costs. And Andrew saying you'd rather keep Kiefer Sherwood's grit. Okay. That's interesting. You're talking about the second line center position. And, I know you're already giving up the first and the second, but Kiefer Sherwood being the other piece and not Jonathan Lecker-Mack or Tom Melander, like that doesn't excite you to possibly fix that second line position. And what you have to give up is a guy who had a career year last year with all those goals and all those hits. And Kiefer Sherwood, I know he has 1 year left, possibly getting a big raise. Are the Canucks a little scared of giving him the raise? Would they be open to something like this? I would say, yeah. Considering, the second line center position is in dire need of replacement. But now I'm thinking, and Bill Guerin probably likes a guy like Kiefer Sherwood. I mean, he could be a win now player. Like, how good can a guy like that get? I mean, he already took a step. What is he, 29? 29 years old? Like, could he take another? Well, the analytics would say no. Yeah, this is making me think, though. Because it seems obvious. Yeah, you do. But now that we're, going on a bit of a ramble about Kiefer Sherwood's abilities, it's like, dude, I want to watch this guy play on the Canucks next year. I want to watch this guy be a UFA with the blue and green. Look at Japan, right? Saying Sherwood is probably going to go off on points this year. If he plays in the top 6, which will get him paid $3 to $4 million. Yo, if he gets like 50 points, 45, 50 points with all those hits this year, puts up like 23 to 24 goals, like $4.5 million minimum for a guy like that. No? Are the Canucks doing that? Can he do that? I think so. I'm in love with Kiefer Sherwood. Okay? Guy's really doing it. He's inspiring me. I want to be a late bloomer too. I want to find my peak later in my career. Okay? And all those hits, all the passion, all the energy, the threat to Jason Dickinson, which, I don't, completely, like I wouldn't want my kid doing, but yo, he's that guy. He brings a lot to the table. And, Kiefer Sherwood, like, are we going to use this time? Should I ask ChatGPT if Kiefer Sherwood is untouchable? Maybe I will after the break. We're having one of those wacky days. But the guy had a record year. Can he do it again? But dude, I think he can. Because outside of him just being a spark plug, I see like a base layer of skill that's there. He can, I'm curious, like if Pettersson was more confident, is there a chemistry between them? I think so, because it felt as if, like, at times Sherwood would carry that line because he just wanted it. Like, he wanted Pettersson to do well. He wanted his time to be used to its most potential. Again, Kiefer Sherwood, he makes every minute count. Like, it seemed as if he could play up the lineup and be comfortable and play instinctual. Dude, he has the skills. Look at his shot. He scored a lot more nicer goals than Brock Besser did this year, than Jake DeBrusk did this year. Doing a bit of everything. I think he could pop off. And Japan making a prediction, 50 points. And, doing all the hitting. If he does well in the playoffs, he's going to make like 4.5 to 6 million. Okay, 6 million for Kiefer Show. We might as well trade this guy for Marco Rossi. 6 million for Kiefer Show. Okay. Let's get to the other side. I keep asking this robot some damn questions. I like doing this because even though it's interesting, I'm telling you, this robot's a dumbass. And I'm not that sorry for saying that because come on. Let's slow down, people. Artificial intelligence. Artificial. Let's just be more natural, okay? Anyways, let's shout out one of our friends and do more talking about your Canucks. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. Do us all a favor. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the show. Happy life, happy wife. Happy wife, happy life. And yeah, our wives are watching. Go Canucks, go. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Trevor's other favorite game of all time. Speaking of games, okay? Preseason football, MLB, soccer, it's all there right now. So, you don't have to wait till, the real NFL starts. The NBA games are coming back in 30, 40 days. You don't have to wait till the NHL to come back as well. For you to, make all the sports this summer a little bit more exciting. You know the deal. FanDuel always helping us out. So we got to tell you about them, okay? And they got new daily promotions, making it fun and interesting and easy to, place a bet. For real, it's like Vegas in your pocket, okay? It's easy to use, fast payouts, boom, bam. Feels like real life. And it makes these games more must watch, okay? We like sports. Do something, okay? Escape with sports. Don't look at your phone. Watch some sports. And if you need help watching the sports, make it a little bit more exciting. Place a $1 bet. Place a $2 bet, okay? Hey, Trevor told me to say that part, okay? Anyways, if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can get, $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks and, asking ChatGPT to build us a Stanley Cup contender and you make up a bunch of trade proposals to do that. We got Nico Hischier here. We got Dawson Mercer. We got Mason McTavish. Who else do we got here? Quinn Hughes getting traded too. Sidney Crosby. The one that they thought of for Sidney Crosby, it was kind of interesting. But before, we talk about more about the proposals, I want to get to more of your comments about Kiefer Sherwood because, I want to stick with the real. This is a real conversation. Is Kiefer Sherwood untouchable this summer? Yeah, if Kiefer Sherwood scores, 4 goals in October and is hitting everything and is still looking prominent, let's notch that up. What if he scores 5 goals in October? Like he's primed for another big year. Is he still untouchable or is he highly coveted around the league? Being a UFA and all, does that make it harder for the Canucks to not think about trading it? Again, the same team that didn't trade P.U. Suter, but a pretty interesting scenario coming up for Kiefer Sherwood and the Vancouver Canucks. And I want to ask ChatGPT if the Canucks or if it thinks that Kiefer Sherwood is untouchable, because the comments, man, making me think, do you think Kiefer Sherwood is untouchable to trade for the Canucks? Okay, what's this robot called? Siri? What's the Amazon one called? Alexa, right? Anyways, we just asked it the question. And before we get to that, let's talk to the real people, okay? Japan, bringing in another comment. Can we press the button? This comes from Japan 4 again. Why haven't they thrown Kiefer Sherwood an extension by now? We signed guys like Drew O'Connor so fast and gave Höglander an extension early. Shouldn't we give Sherwood that extension now? Damn. That's making me think, yo. I hope we're still able to keep a guy like Sherwood, even though we already locked up Drew O'Connor. Like, I hope our internal budget isn't put in place without being able to make that decision, because again, we're getting closer to it, and Drew O'Connor's getting paid like what, $2 million or something, 2.5. Because that would piss me off. And yo, maybe Kiefer Sherwood's camp doesn't want to sign right now. Like, I wonder what that number would be if they were to get comfortable and do so. Like, is it $4 million? Is it 3.75? Like, if they were like, yo, Kiefer, we'll give you 4 years right now. What is that? Close to $16 million. Let's call it 15.5. Is Kiefer Sherwood signing that? I don't know. Right? You're talking about a player that's been hungry his whole career to hit it big. I don't know. Like, he has a big opportunity here, coming off a career year, looking so good in doing so. He was able to block out the noise and just bring it every game and be a dog and score goals again. And maybe he knows that there's uncertainty when it comes to the chemistry of the forward group on this team. And again, like, if you look at the group of wingers, I don't care what the fancy stats say. This is just what my eye test is telling me. Like, I'm telling you, like, Elias Pettersson and Kiefer Sherwood, they did have some chemistry. And a lot of that was due to Kiefer Sherwood just, wanting that opportunity, making the most of it. Like, if he gets that chance again, like, he's going to, again, I guarantee it, he's going to make the most of it. We called it the UFO line too, right? Evander Kane, Elias Pettersson, and Kiefer Sherwood. Sherwood could do it. 50 points. An Elias Pettersson that's back and being an agitator. Yo, that's an outlier type of player. Now, it would take him, ascending once again to do so. I hope he's having a great summer, and I feel like he just got married. One love to him. I hope he's able to focus and train and take his game to the next level. And yeah, if he does so, he's getting paid. And maybe that's why he's rejecting a $15.5 million contract extension with the Canucks, right? In theory. Anyways, what did Kiefer Sherwood bring ChatGPT when asked about him being untradeable? Okay, this is what ChatGPT said, and I'll read it verbatim. Okay, no, Kiefer Sherwood is definitely not untouchable. Okay, in fact, he's the kind of player that could be very gettable for a team like the Canucks, especially. Wait, hold up. Come on. ChatGPT's. Why are you so dumb? I just asked, if Kiefer Sherwood is untouchable. And ChatGPT is pretending he's still on Nashville. Let me just, answer the question again. And remember, Sherwood is already on the Canucks. Jeez, come on. Are you kidding me? Sweden. And some people out there, before they talk to women, they're going to go to ChatGPT and ask it some questions before they relay that to whoever they're communicating with. It's like, dude, it's not ready yet, but we're just ready to give it up. Give up the power. Give up the power of free speech, right? Anyways, ChatGPT just re-answered the question. Again, I asked it, is Kiefer Sherwood untouchable for the Vancouver Canucks? And now it's answering, no, he is not untouchable, but he is a valuable piece, right? The Canucks might want to keep him because he plays hard, has a playoff-style game, right? Fits Adam Foote's identity, can move up and down the lineup, and, he kills penalties, right? There's still a chance you could sign him to a manageable deal. But this is why he is tradable, okay? He could be used as a sweetener in a bigger deal, and that means something. Like, I wonder if there's a small chance, again, Kiefer Sherwood being the sweetener, I wonder if there's a chance that the Canucks can avoid trading Lecker-Mackey and Willander if they just ride the coattails off a hot Kiefer Sherwood. There could be some buzz with that guy's name if again, he gets off to a good start, or there might be buzz already on this guy, considering, you show people the film of what he's done over the last 2 years in the NHL but more specifically last year. And you're like, yo, this guy's a really good player. You need Kiefer. He's a top 9 piece, a legitimate piece. He's really good. He's worth 2 second-round picks. You want him? That's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, he has value to him. And could he be the sweetener? And I'm telling you, if this management group, and it may sound crazy for me to say it because maybe some people are thinking there's no chance that Kiefer Sherwood has this much value, but I do think so. I know he does. I know he does. My intuition, my sources are telling me that he does have the possibility of allowing the Canucks to avoid having to put in a top-end prospect to fix their center ice position, to bring in a difference maker. Like, how much are you getting in a trade if it's like Kiefer Sherwood, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick? You're probably getting a good piece. And as ChatGPT is saying at its bottom line, okay, Kiefer Sherwood is important to Vancouver's team structure, but is absolutely tradable if it helps the team land a true game changer. He's a high-end role player, not a foundational piece. Would you like a few trade packages with Sherwood being a part of the deal? Sure. Yo, ChatGPT, what's up, brother? Helping me produce the show. How about this one, okay? To Philadelphia. They get Kiefer Sherwood. They get Jonathan Lekramaki. And they get a 2026 protected first-round pick. Okay, I'm going to put the protection there for it. They didn't say it in ChatGPT, but everyone's trading a protected first next year. It's Gavin McKenna. But yeah, Philadelphia gets Sherwood, Lekramaki, and a first, and the Canucks get Travis Konechny. Woo! Yo, that's interesting. Are you doing that? It's making me think. It's making me think. Yo, I wonder if this one sounds crazy, but instead of Lekramaki, like could it even be like, nah, you got to keep Aatu Ratu. But like, what does the trade look like if it's Aatu Ratu, Kiefer Sherwood in the first? Like, this is interesting. Bob Luger saying connect the dots. NGK saying Konechny. Yo, Rick Tocchet would love Travis obviously would love Travis Konechny. He already has him, but, gets to actually coach him now. He already loves Kiefer Sherwood. I'm just saying, if Sherwood has a hot start to the season, Philadelphia sucks, Konechny wants out, is there a way to have Sherwood be a part of a bigger deal? Now, I don't think you can get Konechny for Sherwood being the main player in the trade. Like, there's no chance, but the sweetener thing does matter because Konechny's a hell of a player. And if you could turn Sherwood into a sweetener, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Anyways, enough trading okay, you know what? Why are we trading Kiefer Sherwood? This is what happens in the summer when you talk to robots. You see what's happening to my brain? It's called brain rot. It's called stupidity, man. And remember, the Sweden prime minister is using this technology to help, it plan and make decisions, and using it as a consultant. Basically, promoting our brains to inevitably have the ability to put together IKEA furniture. I know we're already struggling with it now, but we're going to need robots to do that work in a couple of years, thanks to Sweden, ironically. Anyways, Callum is saying, don't touch Kiefer the Reefer. Yeah, I'll stop talking about him, okay? Let's go through some more trades on the other side. ChatGPT and Locked On Canucks, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. This is some Illuminati type of behavior, but it's what happens when it's the summer, man. It's the summer, baby. People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, and we're making trades that would help the Canucks, I don't know, take the next step, acquire a second line center, obscure trades, and we're doing so because we talked to a robot, okay? Speaking of the devil, how about this trade with the New Jersey Devils that ChatGPT came up with, okay? Let's say the Devils, quote unquote, are struggling, right? They need to make moves. change things around. Does that mean somebody like Dawson Mercer is available? Could you get Mercer for a second round pick and, I don't know, like Mancini? Probably. Right? And ChatGPT saying this is why it would work, right? Mercer is a top young forward who could, sparkle in big moments. The Canucks need to bolster their forward skill and, their center depth. While this is speculative, it aligns with trade conversations. What does that mean? Wait, hold up. Does ChatGPT know something? Anyways, could Valentino Martini II, like let's say he makes the team early on, Victor Mancini, he's already looked good in the AHL. He looked good at times in the NHL too. I know he's a former 5th round pick, but there's like 2nd round pick value there, I think, for that guy. Like he's got something. Some people think he was the biggest part of that JT Miller trade. Does he do enough work early on next season to turn himself into a sweetener? Again, a guy that helps us not have to trade Lecker Mackey or Willander to fix that spot down the middle, or Braden Coots. Like, does Valentino Martini in a 2nd round pick get the job done for a guy like Dawson Mercer? Are you liking that? And man, look at this comment. This comes from Andrew, okay? Here's a hot take. I think everyone is going to have a great year. And look at how much better that D has been with Adam Foote there. Guy played on arguably one of the best teams in NHL, and that experience is massive. And speaking of Adam Foote being the coach and being good with the D now, or was good with the D, right? So good with the D, so strong with the D, has a firm grip on the D, and he's led us well in that department. Now he's the head coach. Now he's the voice. That's going to bode well for guys like Tom Willander when he gets his chance, Elias Pettersson when he continues to get his chance, and again, Valentino Martini II. Like, me predicting that either Elias Pettersson or Victor Mancini is they're going to elevate and fit well with the system and look good and be poised. And again, they're going to be paired up with like experience, right? Whether it be Forbert or Myers or Marcus Pettersson or Hronek, whatever. You got Quinn Hughes up the lineup, like Adam Foote as your head coach, good goaltending. Like there's going to be a way there for those guys to look really good. And in short order, like it could be the end of October and early November, and we could be falling in love with Valentino Martini III Mancini, okay? And it's like, yo, he's gone. Just like that with a 2nd round pick for a guy like Dawson Mercer to fix, I wouldn't say fix because Dawson Mercer's not a 2nd line center, but there's some potential there. There's that chance. You know what I'm saying? And how about this one? Okay, the Mason McTavish, ChatGPT. We had to do it. I said, yo, give me some trades that would fix the 2nd line center position. And then it brought up Mason McTavish, and it was talking about this, okay? The 2026 1st round pick, it has to be unprotected this time because it's Mason McTavish, former 3rd overall pick from a couple years ago. It's that pick. It's Braden Coots. And I don't know, Atu Ratu? Is it because it thought of another one too? Is it the 2026 1st round pick, Braden Coots and Philip Hedl? For Mason McTavish, are you doing that? That's a lot, but that's more of a surefire bet of, being, set up with Pettersson and McTavish down the middle. McTavish, he gives you a lot of, what Braden Coots brings when it comes to leadership too. Like you're getting a lot. You're giving up a lot there, but you're getting a lot. And I know the Ducks want to win now. Maybe that makes Philip Hedl a bit more appealing to them. Maybe they like Atu Ratu. He looked good last year. If I'm the Ducks, I'm thinking about it just a bit. There's probably more offers or better offers across the league because you're dealing with the Canucks and they're not built like that. But maybe their GM, he's having a one too many during a summer vacation. He's mad at Mason McTavish and he just pulls the trigger. It would take a lot, but again, a 1st round pick in 2026, Atu Ratu and Braden Coots for Mason McTavish. Are you doing that? ChatGPT also said the Canucks should trade for Artur Shilovs. So I'm telling you, like, this is some dangerous technology that is getting way too popular. Last dangerous trade that it made, and this one's kind of scary. Okay, I said, yo, think outside the box and just make some unrealistic but realistic trade options for the Canucks moving forward. And they thought of this. Okay, Nico Hischier for Quinn Hughes. Now I know what you're saying, like 1 for 1. What are you talking about? Ooh, come on, Quinn Hughes is like top 3 in the league. But let's say it's the end of the year. Quinn Hughes is not going to sign with the Canucks 12 months from, again, the end of the following year. I wonder what that does for a guy's trade value when you know the end is near. And what if you already know he's going to the Devils too? What if you want to jumpstart it, right? What if the Devils are like, yo, we'll get rid of Hischier just to get Quinn here ASAP, extend the window, live in the moment a bit, get the jumpstart on the extension. And, since we don't have Hischier anymore, we need, we need a center. Maybe they're in on the McDavid thing. Maybe they're in on the Eichel thing. I don't know. Again, I think this is a stupid trade proposal because it's Quinn Hughes. You need to throw more in there no matter what. Like, the Canucks have the whole firm. You already got, minimum for JT Miller. You cannot do the same with Quinn Hughes if they have to go down the road. You got to give me like the biggest package. I just heard things like, when Mario Lemieux was about to get drafted, there were teams willing to trade their whole draft whole draft cupboard, every single pick in a draft, and then some for Mario Lemieux. Like, I want a haul for Quinn Hughes. But all I'm saying is, if he's going to the Devils in 23 months and he's not going to sign with the Canucks, like 8 months from now, 9 months from now, his trade value, like, there's a chance that it's not as big. And if Rutherford and Alvin aren't savvy, they're going to lose that one again. All in all, do you ever see something like that, right? Like a Hischier for Hughes thing. Rutherford made me think about it a couple times, okay? I'm not going to lie. Anyways, let's get to some comments and get out of here. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. Before we read the comments, again, help us out. Hit the like button. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for doing its thing. And share this show with your... Actually, you know what? Don't share the show, because we just talked to the robots for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and this is really bad propaganda. Like, this is some... like, pause, man. This is some bad behavior, man. I'm ashamed. Okay, we got something interesting from Callum. He said that he thinks that Valentino Martini II Mancini may be a better player than DPD. He's bigger and faster, and his ceiling is Dustin Byfuglien good. Okay, Dustin Byfuglien good. This guy's comparing, Callum Sandu is comparing Mancini to Dustin Byfuglien, one of the most hated players in my childhood. What a damn good player. Caused me misery. What an outlier. What a beast. Haven't seen a player like him since. And this guy has the audacity to compare Valentino Martini, the guy that we got JT Miller for, to this guy. This guy's gassing him up like that, making me excited. And I'm closing my eyes. I'm remembering, some of the skill plays that this guy made. Look at what he did in the AHL too. He has a big body. He's kind of clumsy out there. To some extent, you could say Byfuglien was the same way, actually more reckless with grace, more so than clumsiness. But maybe Mancini's able to connect the dots. Now you're making me excited. Again, what is Adam Foote gonna do with that crop of young defensemen coming up? Like, it's Willander, it's DPD, it's Victor Mancini. Like, I'm telling you, one of those guys is becoming a number 2 defenseman. I mean, it's probably Tom. One of them is taking the next step. Or one of them is taking like 3 steps. There's a chance. A good chance. It's Adam Foote with those guys. And Quinn Hughes is at the top of the pecking order too. So it's a good D room, okay? Marcus Pettersson there, Philip Hronek, Tyler Myers. Like, it's a comfortable spot for those young defensemen, too. Like, the elevation, reaching their potential, there's a chance of it. And Andrew, who, had the inside source in Abbotsford, lives there. Does he live there? I don't even know. I thought Andrew lived in the woods. Isn't that Andrew? Remember that YouTube channel, the Outdoor Boys or whatever? It closed down a couple months ago. Some of the most famous people on the internet. I thought Andrew was the host of that. Anyways, he's saying that Valentino Martini Mancini II was a stud in the playoffs, and he looked like a man playing against boys. It's just not fair. Yeah, I'm excited for Mancini, okay? Last comment, Supersonic saying, don't trade Braden Coots. Don't trade Atu Ratu. That's your future right there. I say trade Hedel in a first-round pick. That's top 10 protected, and a winger, maybe Kiefer Sherwood for Mason McTavish, okay? Boom, bam. I like it, man. Okay, so I'm out of here. Got to get out of here. I'd like to apologize for using ChatGPT today. Forgive me. Don't tell my mom. And we're not going to do that again, okay? All that being said, it did say, if Pettersson's struggling this year, or, if Pettersson's doing decent, not like great, but he's, just doing all right, is there a way to flip him for Sidney Crosby? Hey, ChatGPT said it, okay? Sounds great. It sounds stupid, I know, but the robots are stupid. But, just think about it, okay? Anyways, again, hit the like button, share the show with whoever you want. Happy life, happy wife. Both podcasters on this show. We got a woman in our lives, man. So you can't use ChatGPT. I wish I could go to ChatGPT for some advice on that. So yeah, support the show. Anyways, I gotta go. Enjoy yourselves. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.